Get ready to light them up before San Diego fans line up along the waterfront. All the prep ahead of tomorrow's Big Bay Boom.
There are times where I have all this makeup on, but like a beard. And there are other times when I am in a dress and no makeup.
A bill in Sacramento to let people choose a third gender option on state documents. Next, meet the San Diegan who welcomes the change. And how does your garden grow? The Eco Learning Lab nestled inside the Del Mar Fairgrounds. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. 5 North County cities are considering community choice energy. The idea is to use more sustainable energy than SDG&E currently provides. KPBS North County reporter Allison St. John says Encinitas is the most recent city voting to share the cost of a feasibility study.
Community choice energy, sometimes called community choice aggregation, would allow cities to buy energy independently from SDG&E, possibly speeding up the transition away from fossil fuels and toward energy from things like wind and solar. Solana Beach has already embarked on its own feasibility study and hired contractors. Encinitas Mayor Catherine Blakespear says her city has voted to help pay for a separate $100,000 feasibility study, which the city of Del Mar has already supported.
It would be great to have leadership in the North County area, so to have Oceanside, Carlsbad, Encinitas, Solana Beach, and Del Mar all doing it together. I think that's the win in my mind, would be if we could get everybody on board.
Carlsbad City Council is expected to vote on whether to share in the cost of a feasibility study next week. Oceanside has not yet scheduled a vote, partly because the mayor has suffered a stroke and it's unclear whether there's enough support for the technical study among the remaining council members. 43% of SDG&E's energy does already come from renewable resources, but many cities considering community choice energy are aiming for 100%. From the KPBS North County Bureau, Allison St. John, KPBS News.
Under a proposed state bill, people in the country illegally who use falsified immigration documents would receive lighter penalties. Currently, immigrants who are caught with doctored papers can get up to 5 years behind bars or be fined $25,000. The bill proposes letting voters decide in 2020 if this is too harsh.
Let's let the people decide. And I think that will be a great moment or a great opportunity for us in California to have this conversation and to show that our views have changed. And still, look, we want to be sure that people are held accountable, people take responsibility, but not create a new set of laws or a different set of laws for people just because of their citizenship status.
Republican lawmakers say the legislation is too lenient on people who are in the country illegally. They say should the decision be placed in the hands of voters, they will likely shoot it down. The Gender Recognition Act is a state bill authored by San Diego Senator Tony Atkins. It would allow people to choose a third gender option on driver's licenses and other state documents, called non-binary. It's an effort to acknowledge that some Californians don't identify as either male or female. Tonight, we're bringing you the story of one such person.
Hey, how are you, my dear? I'm David Vance. I'm non-binary, and we are here at Baby Cakes because it was a key, pivotal place for me coming into my identity. When I first started wearing makeup and rejecting gender more explicitly and visibly, this was always where I would go because I knew I would be safe and welcome, and people complimented my makeup, so that helps too. The first word we have to talk about is the word binary. So specifically in the context of gender, that's referring to the social, cultural mandate that we have created in our society, because it is very much a creation of our society, that there are only 2 ways you can exist as a human being: man, woman, and that's it. And that's the script that we're, imbibed with from birth. So being non-binary is basically not identifying with man or woman. It's been kind of a process, but I've reached a point now where I'm just really kind of, still all over the place. There are times where I have all this makeup on, but like a beard. And there are other times when I am in a dress and no makeup. And there are other times when I'm, totally butched out and have facial hair and my tank top and my, all my other shit. So it really just depends on the day. I grew up in a very, hyper-conservative, rural, very closed-off, sheltered part of Wisconsin. For my family, they were incredibly uncomfortable with the makeup for a long time. And I would post pictures, and my mom would literally text me and tell me to take them down. And I remember when I first came out, literally the one thing one of my family members told me was, just don't wear makeup and do your nails. Just still act like a man. So it took them a while. So I am the PrEP coordinator here at the center. PrEP is a once-a-day pill that prevents HIV infection. Specifically, the work that we're trying to do right now is center the trans community in our HIV testing and PrEP outreach and education. So that's been really cool for me just because I've sort of, again, I consider myself under the trans umbrella for sure. So I've sort of gotten to grow into myself a little bit, but also it really helps me connect with my clients. Hi, my dear, this is David, the PrEP coordinator over at the center. Just giving you a quick call to check in. The conversations that I can have with another non-binary person or with a trans person are just on a different level in so many ways because there's such a high level of empathy and understanding and trust. And trust is absolutely huge in relationships with clients.
We are here to announce that we've introduced Senate Bill 179, the Gender Recognition Act of 2017.
So if the Gender Recognition Act were to pass, that would be a level of legitimacy and recognition on an institutional level, first and foremost. I know that kind of sounds like abstract and weird, but I think for me personally, yes, absolutely. Like, I would love to be able to have NB or non-binary on my driver's license, on my birth certificate, possibly. But I think what it would mean most to me is it's really bringing us out into the open. It is making us visible on a level that other people who maybe would not view non-binary as something legitimate before would now go, oh, wait a minute, maybe this is an actual thing. So I think that's really what the biggest gain would be. It would be a really hugely powerful institutional level statement of non-binary people exist and are real, and not everybody fits into one of two boxes.
That story was produced by reporter Andrew Bowen and video journalist Katie Shulove. The Gender Recognition Act passed the state Senate along party lines. It's currently in the Assembly. Republicans and conservative groups are opposing the bill. Hate crimes in California are up for the second year in a row. A report released today from the state's Attorney General shows hate crimes increased by about 11% last year to 931. That's about 100 more than the previous year. It's the second double-digit increase after years of decline. More than half of the crimes were based on the victim's race or ethnicity, while more than 20% were motivated by the victim's sexual orientation. Less than 20% of the crimes could be traced to religion. La Jolla Cove has long been plagued by a stench from seal, sea lion, and bird poop. Now comes more bad news for the popular spot. It's been named the 5th most bacteria-ridden beach in the state. KPBS reporter Claire Tragesser has the story.
The distinction comes from the environmental nonprofit Heal the Bay, which releases a report card on the state's beaches every year. The report has come out for more than 25 years, and this is the first time La Jolla Cove is on it. The cove failed because of how often it had too high levels of bacteria, which can make swimming unsafe. Sarah Sikich, Heal the Bay's vice president, says La Jolla likely has problems because its cove shape means poor water circulation and because of the increase in seals and sea lions there. La Jolla residents and business owners have explored numerous options for dealing with the marine mammals, including installing rotating cylinders that would roll the unwelcome sea life back into the water. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour, just in time for 4th of July celebrations, a breakthrough in beer making, and a secret ingredient that's all the buzz. That's Tuesday on the PBS News Hour.
The Big Bay Boom is San Diego's annual fireworks show on the 4th of July. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says organizers are promising a spectacular display.
A crew of about 32 people has been working for the past 4 days getting ready for the big show. Sam Brugema of Pyro Spectaculars says things are just about ready.
In the next hour, we'll be testing all circuits, and in the next 2 hours, we'll be walking out of here ready to shoot the show. So if they wanted it tonight, we could do it.
This is just one of 4 barges that will be shooting off fireworks across San Diego Bay. Spectators can see the show all around the waterfront starting at 9 p.m. with patriotic music simulcast on the radio.
We have some new stuff that's going to be stuff nobody has seen. The finale is going to be fabulous, and I do my best not to make it the best part, but it may very well be the best part. It's like, it just depends on, everybody's going to receive and have a different favorite spot. My whole thing about it is I hope they enjoy the beginning as much as the end.
Some San Diegans might remember the show in 2012 when all the fireworks went off at once by mistake. That show was produced by a different pyrotechnics company. Brugema says safety is his #1 priority, and all the fireworks are tested for quality assurance. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
San Diego area CHP officers made 47 drunk driving arrests over the weekend. That's down from 66 from the same period last year. The California Highway Patrol says it's putting all available officers on patrol through tomorrow night during what it calls its maximum enforcement period, this long 4th of July weekend. Drunk driving arrests were also down statewide, as were fatal crashes. The 4th of July is also keeping area lifeguards busy with large crowds hitting the sand all weekend. San Diego lifeguards made 153 rescues and gave medical aid to 135 people. Several of those people were treated after encounters with stingrays. Lifeguards advise shuffling your feet as you walk in the water to scare the creatures away. Well, fire up the grill. Classic summer weather for the 4th of July holiday, and clear skies are expected for the Big Bay Boom. Jeff Cornish tells us when the temperatures will heat up in tonight's forecast.
We're on the brink of Independence Day, and it looks like a nice day along the coast. A really nice setup for Tuesday. So we're looking forward to fireworks and that kind of thing, but be aware the fire danger remains very high across the inland areas, and that's been an ongoing issue that will continue through the rest of the week. And in fact, the end of the week is going to be even hotter than this with the heat building. Big ridge of high pressure. Not a cloud to be found, no natural shade from any clouds aloft. We're dealing with a very quiet setup when it comes to any moisture around here. A couple of isolated showers and storms are firing over the southern Rockies and central Rockies as well. I haven't seen anything today in the Sierra, but maybe we will later this week when we get even a little hotter than this. Tonight we'll get down to around 64 with some patchy fog. Late, the marine layer will return, and that little stripe of clouds that hugs the coast. And the late night forecast only gets down to 74 in Borrego Springs, so the heat continues in the east. We're dealing with 64 for our low in the city, and the heat continues across all of the western U.S. with just a little sliver of relief right along the coast and also into the extreme highest elevations. But not many clouds tomorrow, anywhere within hundreds of miles of San Diego. And it's going to be a nice day near the coast, a really nice July 4th. You may want to fire up the grill and head out to see the fireworks with no weather worries there. But to the east, there is still a high fire danger, 90 in Ramona and 111 in Borrego Springs. So the heat continues. And later this week, the heat will only build as a ridge of high pressure remains very strong across the western U.S. And you can see the storms off to the east if you happen to be traveling off into the east coast of the U.S. Here are the 5-day forecasts for our region. In the coastal areas, we're in the mid-70s, pretty comfortable Tuesday and Wednesday, but look at what happens. We jump up into the low to mid-80s on Friday and on Saturday with a good deal of afternoon sunshine every day. Inland areas also ramp up 8 to 10 degrees between tomorrow and Friday, with the heat continuing. In the mountains, it's a little cooler than it would be in the lower elevations, but still very warm out there. No trouble reaching the mid-80s on Friday and on Saturday, 84 there on Saturday. And the deserts are where it's especially scorching, and it looks like the hottest day will come on Friday with sizzling sunshine and high fire danger continuing, lows near 80 on Friday morning. I'm Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
Check out the new favorite summertime sport in California, skiing and snowboarding in shorts. Snow enthusiasts showed up at Squaw Valley today near Lake Tahoe. Resorts took advantage of the heavy snowpack, which you can see is still lingering around from winter.
Came up here to enjoy the skiing this morning and head out on the boat on Lake Tahoe this afternoon. Not sure when the next time is that I'll be able to do all that in one day.
Snow conditions were pretty good. I mean, it's a little slushy, but I mean, I'll take it other than anything else.
We got out here first tracks at 8:30 right when it opened, so actually the conditions were really great this morning and are still holding up pretty well.
Resort personnel plan to staff the slopes tomorrow. They expect hundreds of skiers to ski on Independence Day. Beyond the Ferris wheel and the funnel cake at the Del Mar Fair, kids are learning about composting and gray water. KPBS video journalist Chris Arciaga takes us behind the scenes of the Eco Learning Lab.
This is a newly made bin. It has like paper and different kinds of food scraps that the worms eat.
We're an environmental education nonprofit. We do education and outreach, and our goal is to educate people and organizations by encourage them to make change such that they have impact on the global environment.
There's a worm right here. This is a red wiggler.
We have vermicomposting that they can see, which is composting with worms.
This is all worm waste, and it's healthy for your plants and your crops to grow.
We have the seed planting station. Kids love that.
And fill it with dirt first. It's dirt and compost. Take a couple corn seeds, then I water it with a spray bottle.
I love the exhibit where you can see the larvae eating styrofoam.
I didn't know that they ate styrofoam, but I can have the mealworms eat the styrofoam, and I can have my chickens eat the mealworms.
Just teaching kids about the cycle of life, that when you throw material in the trash can, it goes away in your mind, but it's actually not going away.
The earth might be polluted, so it's good to recycle and teach kids about not to throw trash on the ground, or they'll live in a bad life when they grow up.
The Eco Learning Lab continues after the fair packs up. Go to solanacenter.org for more details. A new public artwork honors community leaders in one arts district near Columbus, Ohio. For this neighborhood, it's the first permanent artwork in 10 years. From WOSU producer Jackie Schaefer takes us behind the scenes of building the mural brick by brick.
This is an interesting project because it started last year and now it's coming full circle. So we're on the corner of High Street and 5th Avenue on the east side, in the heart of the Short North, or the northern part of the Short North.
We're mocking up our public art piece that will be installed this spring. These white papers will eventually be carved brick, but right now we're just making sure that all of the elements line up and they look good in real life on the wall.
The idea behind the messenger wall is to honor people who have been key messengers in our community. And then we also wanted to pay homage to a former director of our organization who worked tirelessly to do so much good here, and the name for the wall actually comes from him. His name was John Angelo.
It also so happens that his last name means angel or messenger in Italian. So his name is tied into it, but then the notion of a community messenger is really what they're trying to get across, which is someone who actively brings people into the circle to work together to make whichever community they're part of better and stronger because we're all together in it. So I started thinking of how to convey messages, message in a bottle, messenger pigeon. So what Jen came up with was sort of an abstract design that it might look like the way the wind blows or the way a bird might fly through the air if they flap their wings. And then this composition carries throughout 4 panels, and these panels are being installed into old windowsills. This project couldn't have been done without the help of my awesome studio assistant, Brooke Slobodian. So we took Jen's drawing and we put it onto paper, and then we put that paper onto these wet bricks that we had stacked in the wall pattern, and then traced through the paper to get the markings on there, and then carved the relief pattern out of there. And now I'm using the back end of a Sharpie marker to trace through the paper and trying to make sure I get enough pressure that I am indenting the wet clay bricks underneath. And then we'll peel off the paper for the, we'll call it medium reveal. Let's go at it. These bricks are, they're about 8 pounds each, which is pretty crazy. So that the big panel has 350 bricks or so. I was actually worried when we stacked them as tall as we did that the ones on the bottom, because they're wet, I wasn't sure if they were going to start smushing, but it didn't. It didn't happen. We have 652 bricks in the panels, and then we have 26 pressed birds. If the clay is a little bit wetter on the side that's touching the plaster, we'll get a smoother surface like that, and where it's a little bit drier, it's a little more crumbly. But dare I say, this is exactly what we were going for. All right, so we'll unload the kiln now. We fired the bricks, and you saw the brick clay is that green color. It's like a forest green color when it goes in the kiln. And because of the iron in the shale, it turns from green to the red color. So every brick is marked on the back so that we can install them in order. I can't wait to see these up on the wall.
In taking a look at the neighborhood and seeing where we could help redefine some spaces with art and creativity, one of the places that emerged to us was Fifth Avenue, because in many ways it's this gateway into the neighborhood.
It's not, you know, the shiny boutique part. It's the real part where real people walk around, and I think that's really cool to be part of their everyday.
Public art is needed, especially in a place like Fifth and High. So it's nice to be part of the beautification, but it's also important to remember where community comes from and who the people are living in that community.
It really is part of our mission to help redefine these spaces in big creative ways with art that is lasting.
As a high school art teacher, you're so much doing day-to-day solving problems on smaller scale. I'd never thought like I would do something so big and for sure not something so permanent.
It's really kind of hard to wrap my mind around graduating from Ohio State and putting a significant piece of permanent artwork on the corner of 5th and High, which is the beginning of the arts district in the capital city that I love.
That story was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Now, here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. On Morning Edition, Americans are drinking up a booming business for one Mexican state. The mezcal industry is now looking for serious investors as it continues to grow. And on Midday Edition, a new battle for veterans who fought for the United States, the men and women who are now fighting to keep living in this country. That's tomorrow on KPBS Radio. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.